Welcome everybody. Today we're talking with local advocates and also our nonprofit leaders working on developmental disability housing issues. And this issue came to council recently in our work on the Mid-Penn project. And I thought that is such an important and central focus that doesn't usually see a lot of daylight. And so I wanted to bring folks into this conversation and help create an opportunity to educate the broader community about why this is important to all of us. And so I wanted to, invite you, Kalisha, to talk about housing choices, the work that you're doing, the problem you're trying to solve, and what does this have to do with San Mateo?
Yeah, hi. So my name is Kalisha Webster. I am a housing coordinator with Housing Choices. Housing Choices works with people with developmental disabilities and their families to help them find housing. We have been doing it for about 23 years now down in Santa Clara County. We've spread into Monterey Bay area as well into San Mateo most recently. We found that with our clients up in San Mateo that there is a very high need and not a lot of availability of affordable housing. We're seeing housing wait lists that are 3 to 5 years long. Sometimes I've even heard 15 years. It's just for people who are looking to move on to the next phase of their life, it's just not possible in San Mateo County, unfortunately, for most of our clients. And we do find, specifically in the city of San Mateo, there's about 949 people with developmental disabilities, 592 of which are adults. Of those, only about 50 have their own apartment. So, there's a huge unmet need in the city of San Mateo that we are trying to resolve. And it's something that's not going to go away. In the last 10, 12 years, we've seen an increase of about 34% in people with developmental disabilities in the city of San Mateo.
Mm. And also, there's some intersections here with developmental disabilities and risks of homelessness, right? And many of our community members living with developmental disabilities, I know that they are living with aging parents, and when their housing security is more and more at risk, and there really are no Plan B options available, and especially in San Mateo. And so, this is really important work. This was part of the things that, that we had to take a hard look at in crafting the makeup in the community that would be served through the Mid-Penn project. And so the Mid-Penn project is 100% affordable housing project that we're building on a downtown opportunities site. And Jan, you were there in the early stages, actually advocating for increased density and height on that project, on that lot. And I think, it would be really helpful to hear your perspective about why it made so much sense to maximize that opportunity on public land, and like hear some of the background, the backstory of how you helped shepherd that project forward.
Yeah, great. So I'm the executive director of Housing Choices, and as part of our work in San Mateo, we are involved in the advocacy for affordable housing that's being pursued by a variety of partners. And so when we learned about the downtown San Mateo property, we were involved in supporting it and helping it move forward. Initially, we proposed to Mid-Penn Housing, with whom we partnered in other communities, that it would be an ideal location for inclusion of people with developmental disabilities. At that point, the project was pretty far along, and as you know, it takes projects years to develop. So it didn't seem like an option, but then the state law changed, allowing for greater height and greater density for properties like this that are within a certain distance of transit. And so that provided an opportunity for Mid-Penn to reopen the discussion with Housing Choices about including some apartments for people with developmental disabilities. The relevance to the increased height and density is that for our community, most adults don't own cars and don't drive, and they are very much users of public transit. So the rationale for increased height and density, because the property is close to public transit, it fit really well with our specific housing need. So we were involved in City Council study sessions and consideration of whether to go with the increased height and density, and supported that effort. And we also were part of a campaign for the project to be awarded project-based vouchers from the Housing Authority of San Mateo County. Project-based vouchers enable people on very, very, very low fixed incomes to be able to qualify for affordable housing, which otherwise can be out of reach, even when the units are priced to be affordable. So we definitely supported the project before we had a role in it, but then with the increased height and density because of the public transit nexus, then it just became clear that the project would benefit in multiple ways by including some apartments for people with developmental disabilities. And so fortunately, we were able to work through that issue with Mid-Penn with your support, and we want to recognize and thank you for helping us navigate all of their questions and concerns. But I think we got to a great solution that works well for a project that is close to downtown shopping and services, very transit oriented, and really will work well for people with developmental disabilities who want to stay in their home community and need access to public transit and nearby shopping and services.
Thank you so much for going backward and helping people understand the amount of work and advocacy it takes to see a project, you know, this far through, and you know that it is a huge win to get 8 designated spots in this new community that will be built, hopefully, you know, sooner the better. So our last speaker today is Nicole Adler. Nicole, we met when you actually attended our city council meeting and spoke so eloquently about your own perspective and experience. And I've just come to learn that you just recently graduated from the College of San Mateo with a degree in communications, and that you're also a state council member on the State Council for Developmental Disabilities and a staunch advocate for the LGBTQ community, and have been working on all fronts to make sure that we get the housing that our community needs. And so I want to invite you to share, you know, why this project, what compelled you to show up to city council meeting and to tell your story. And if you don't mind, you know, just helping paint a picture of why this is so important to you.
For my story, like why I joined the council meeting is to really take action and really open people's minds and inspire others that people with disabilities need housing more than ever, especially through this pandemic and through racial justice. And we really need to help this community more than ever, and let everyone know that housing is really not affordable for anyone, especially when we have housing vouchers. We're on a wait list forever, and we don't have the ability to wait for a long period of time because of housing. I just like to tell my story. It's compelling. I went through a lot in my life, and housing is a big obstacle that we need to take care of.
That you're at a phase in your life where you're ready to launch, and you want to have the option to live independently, and that option does not exist because of the lack of housing options in San Mateo particularly, and that San Mateo is far behind many of our other cities, and that, you know, the work that we do to create housing, affordable housing options, allows young people like yourself who want to find a partner, who want to start a family, who want to launch your life, right? That option doesn't exist if we don't have housing. So I really appreciate all of you coming to this conversation and sharing your personal stories, doing the work that you're doing, bringing the city and myself in as a partner alongside you. And this is, we're just scratching the surface, and we have so much more work to do. So thank you, and onward.